How is it going, everyone? It's Caleb here, and today we're going to be talking about a video game that is based off of an old toy line, and that toy line is Mighty Beanz Pocket Puzzles. I grew up playing with a lot of Mighty Beanz. They were basically these little toys that had, basically a ball bearing in them, and you could roll them around. They would kind of bounce around and stuff like that, and they were collectible because they would have different characters on each one. So they had tons and tons of different characters that were all like their own creations and stuff, or based off of other pop culture things. And then they also later on started making some that were based off of actual movies and TV shows and stuff. And I think one of the last ones they did was actually a Fortnite collaboration. I remember when they did like Mighty Beanz Fortnite, which was a really weird thing. But it's one of the toys I grew up with, and I saw this game on the Game Boy Advance, and as soon as I saw it, I wanted to pick it up and play it because like I said, I grew up with them, so I figured it would at least be cool to check it out. I kind of figured it would be a cheap game and not super great, but I will say it's actually more addicting than I thought it was going to be. Mighty Beanz Pocket Puzzles is obviously a puzzle game. It's similar to Tetris. It's a Tetris, I don't want to say it's Tetris style, but it is very much a puzzle game like Tetris. I guess that's the best way I can put it. This game is a little bit different because what you're doing is you're trying to connect the correct bottom to the correct top of the Mighty Bean. And you have a bunch of different halves of the Mighty Beans on the screen, and you have to try to get each Mighty Bean to its correct place, and you have to get so many Mighty Beans to connect before the time runs out, or before they stack up so high that they actually go out of the screen, and then it will just make you automatically lose that way. And that's in the normal game mode that you would usually do. There is a side game mode where you move the entire row of Mighty Beans, which is kind of interesting. It changes up the puzzles. So instead of moving one Mighty Bean at a time, or one half of a Mighty Bean at a time, you move an entire row of them, and you basically just try to keep getting as many as you can and see how far you can get in this time trial mode. And that was kind of interesting too. It wasn't a bad mode, and I prefer the main story mode. In time trial mode, the whole point of it is basically to try to complete a level by getting as many combinations as you can. So you need to try to basically pop as many Mighty Beans as possible, and once you pop the correct amount, it will clear the level and you'll go on to the next level. And the whole point is to basically just keep going and see how far you can get before you eventually run out of time on a level. So it's pretty fun though. I do like it quite a bit. I shouldn't call it story mode. The main mode is just called puzzle mode, so that's the main game mode that you go to, where you're just playing and you're moving half a Mighty Bean around at a time. Although, once you get through a few levels, it does have some special levels also thrown in there, where you are moving entire rows of Mighty Beans at one time. However, unlike time trial mode, it's not about trying to get as many as you can before time runs out. With these bonus stages on puzzle mode, you actually have to try to clear the entire screen of Mighty Beans. And I actually like the bonus stages quite a bit, and it's basically just a way to get more points for your high score. But I like them. I think it's kind of fun, and it kind of makes it, I like it when they try to throw in different gameplay styles to just mix up the regular gameplay. I like it when video games do that. In terms of the way that this game looks, I think it looks, for a puzzle game, I think it looks pretty decent. You can tell what all the Mighty Beans are. In fact, I actually recognize some of the Mighty Beans from when I was a kid, so I'm able to see the wolf and stuff like that, or the sheep, and even the cheerleaders and basketball players. I'm able to recognize these characters from when I grew up with them. I even recognize the old there's this guy who is a miner, and I recognize all these characters, and I'm just oh wow, I had a lot of these Mighty Beans growing up. So it was actually really cool to see all these characters again. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of those games that, to me, is more of a gimmick. It's kind of one of those things that you pick up, not necessarily for the gameplay itself, but because of the topic that it covers, It's not a bad video game. I do enjoy it. It has a lot of fun to offer because it is a simple puzzle game that really anyone can play, and it's super easy to pick up. It's not super easy to put down, though, because it is very addicting. Once you get going into this game, you really want to keep playing. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty addicting. And when you have the connection that I have to Mighty Beans, and you kind of see all these characters again, it really does just make you super happy to be playing this game. But for the average person, I would say that this is something that you pick up more or less just because it's Mighty Beanz. You know, you pick it up because you have the memory of that toy line, you pick it up because you have that nostalgia for it, and you get to kind of see some of these figures in a video game that you used to have. So I think that's pretty cool. I really like this game, and if you grew up with Mighty Beanz, I recommend that you pick up this game for the Game Boy Advance. If you've never heard of Mighty Beanz, you still might be interested in it because it is actually a pretty fun puzzle game, and it's usually pretty cheap. I picked my copy up for $5, so can't really, you know, complain too much about that. I would love to find more video games based off toy lines. I have a few more I can definitely cover, but man, there's some toy lines that I wish would have had video games. Could you imagine if like Knack-Knacks had a toy line? Knack-Knacks were something else that I collected around the same time as Mighty Beanz, and if they would have had a toy, or if they would have had a video game for that toy line, that would have been amazing. But hey, at least there is a video game for Mighty Beanz, and I really did not expect there to be that even, so that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go check out Mighty Beanz if you are a fan of the actual toy line. This is a cool game. You get to play puzzles. You get to even collect the Mighty Beanz in the game. You get a little Beanz case, and you can go in and see all the Mighty Beanz that you've collected throughout the game. So it's really cool. It's a lot of fun, and it's a cool trip down memory lane. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in the next video. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.